We all carry pain. Some of us may wear it like a badge, while others conceal it deep inside, away from the eyes of the world. But the truth is, each of us has a story, a struggle, a part of ourselves that we can't always show. It's the pain we carry in silence, the burden that seems too heavy to share with anyone. And here's the thing. It's okay to feel this way. In fact, it's more common than you might think. So many of us walk around with invisible scars that no one sees. We smile, we laugh, we go through our days, but inside we're carrying more than we can bear. The weight of expectations, disappointments, fears, and wounds we haven't fully healed from. Yet, society often tells us that we should be happy, strong, and always on top of our game. So, we hide it. We hide our pain because we fear judgment. Or maybe we fear the vulnerability that comes with letting others see our struggles. But let me tell you something about pain. It doesn't make you weak. The pain you can't show anyone is part of your journey. It is the part of you that needs healing, the part of you that has learned resilience in the face of adversity. We are often taught that vulnerability is a flaw, that we should hide our emotions. But the truth is, vulnerability is one of the greatest strengths you can possess. It's the courage to acknowledge your pain and work through it. It's about recognizing that you are not broken. You are simply in the process of becoming whole again. Healing doesn't happen overnight, but it begins when we acknowledge our pain, when we stop pretending that everything is fine, when we stop suppressing our emotions and pushing them into the corners of our hearts. That's when true healing can begin. And healing starts with self-awareness, recognizing that you are worthy of love and peace despite the battles you've faced. Your pain doesn't define you, but how you choose to handle it, to grow from it will. But you don't have to do this alone. Even if you feel like you can't show your pain to the world, there are people out there who care, who will listen without judgment. Whether it's a therapist, a close friend, or even a journal, find a way to release your pain. Don't let it fester inside you. Reaching out for help is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of incredible strength. Ladies and gentlemen, never forget that your journey with pain is a personal one. But it does not have to be a lonely one. You are not alone in your struggles. You are not alone in your healing. There is always light, even in the darkest moments, and that light is waiting for you when you open yourself to the possibility of healing. So, embrace your journey, honor your pain, and know that you are worthy of the peace that lies ahead. We often carry emotional pain that we feel we cannot share with others. This pain can stem from many different sources. A loss we've experienced, a betrayal we've faced, or perhaps an internal battle we're fighting within ourselves. The truth is, we all have moments in our lives that we wish we could forget, experiences that have left scars deep within us. And often, these scars are invisible to the outside world. No one can see the weight that we carry. We live in a society where the expectation is often to appear strong, confident, and happy. We see the polished versions of people's lives on social media and in public spaces, and we feel the pressure to measure up. When we look at others and see their success, their joy, and their seemingly perfect lives, it can sometimes magnify our own feelings of inadequacy or sadness. It becomes even more difficult to show our pain when we feel like we should be living up to the expectations set by others, or when we fear judgment. So, we bottle it up. We put on the mask. We show the world our smile, but deep inside, we are hurting. The thing is, pain doesn't go away simply because we hide it. We often think that if we push it down, if we pretend it's not there, it will somehow disappear. But this rarely happens. Instead, the pain festers and grows. It turns into anxiety, depression, frustration, or anger, all of which manifest in ways that are harder to ignore. Sometimes, it's not even about the specific event that caused the pain, but the accumulation of years of ignoring it, of not allowing ourselves the space to process and heal. We've been conditioned to believe that showing pain is a weakness. It's as if there is something shameful about experiencing hardship or struggling to keep going. But what if we reframed this idea? What if we recognize that experiencing pain is a universal part of the human condition? We are all capable of feeling vulnerable and exposed at different points in our lives. Yet that vulnerability is often what leads to growth. By acknowledging our pain, we not only allow ourselves to heal, but we also connect to the human experience in a way that can build empathy and understanding with others. There is a certain freedom that comes with embracing our pain, even if we are not ready to share it with the world. It doesn't mean we have to shout it from the rooftops or tell everyone we meet about our struggles. Sometimes the pain we feel is too deep or personal to share openly, and that's okay. But we should allow ourselves to sit with it. We need to give ourselves permission to feel, to grieve, to process. The world may not always understand or support us in these moments, but we don't need to look for validation outside of ourselves. Our healing is our own responsibility, and it begins when we acknowledge that we are in pain. The beauty of emotional pain is that it's not permanent. It may feel endless, it may feel overwhelming, but like all things, it too will pass. It is through sitting with this pain that we often find the strength to move forward. It is through the acceptance of our struggles that we gain the courage to keep going, even when the road ahead seems uncertain. It's important to understand that you are not broken simply because you feel pain. In fact, your capacity to feel is what makes you human. It's what allows you to connect to others, to understand the depth of their experiences, and to have empathy for their struggles. So, while the world may not always understand the pain we carry or the reasons we choose to keep it hidden, we must learn to honor it. It is a part of our journey, a part of our growth, and in time, it can become the very thing that shapes us into who we are meant to be. The pain we hide may be the thing that pushes us to become more compassionate, more resilient, and more aware of the strength we possess within ourselves. While we may not always be able to show our pain to others, it's crucial to acknowledge it within ourselves. The journey of pain is often one that we must walk alone. We may feel isolated in our struggles, as if no one can truly understand what we are going through. It's in these moments that we often hide our emotions, thinking that others won't be able to handle our vulnerability or that sharing our pain would make us weak. But in truth, vulnerability is not a weakness. It is a powerful strength that can open doors to healing, growth, and connection. Vulnerability, by definition, is the willingness to expose ourselves emotionally, to show the raw, unfiltered parts of who we are. It's about being open with ourselves and others about our pain, our fears, and our uncertainties. The fear of being judged or rejected often keeps us from embracing vulnerability. But by shutting ourselves off from others, we deny ourselves the opportunity for true healing. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, We create a space where transformation can occur. The emotions we hide or suppress only grow larger, becoming more difficult to control as time goes on. By acknowledging our vulnerability, we give ourselves permission to process our emotions in a healthy way. There is a misconception that showing vulnerability means we are weak or incapable of handling life's challenges. But the truth is, embracing our vulnerability allows us to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. When we open up about our struggles, we stop pretending to be perfect and start embracing our authentic selves. It's in these moments of rawness that we discover our true strength. Vulnerability requires immense courage because it means allowing ourselves to be seen without the protective armor we often wear. We become real in front of others. And while it can feel uncomfortable or risky, it also provides an opportunity for growth and emotional freedom. In many ways, vulnerability is the gateway to healing. It is through acknowledging our pain instead of hiding it that we begin to take the necessary steps toward recovery. We must learn to be kind to ourselves during these moments of vulnerability, to not judge ourselves for feeling hurt or broken. It's important to realize that vulnerability does not make us less than or inadequate. It makes us human. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we are not only allowing ourselves to heal, but we are also giving others permission to do the same. There is a transformative power in allowing ourselves to be vulnerable with others, whether it's through a conversation with a close friend, a family member, or a professional. When we open up and share our pain, it creates an opportunity for connection. It allows others to see that they are not alone in their struggles. Our stories have the power to create bonds with those around us. When we show vulnerability, we break down the walls that separate us from one another. We invite others to share their pain, their stories, and their truths as well. This exchange can be deeply healing, as it reminds us that we are all in this together. At the same time, vulnerability is not something that should be forced. It's a process, a journey that we must take at our own pace. It requires trust and patience, both with ourselves and with others. We may not always feel ready to open up, and that's okay. What's important is that we give ourselves permission to be vulnerable when we are ready, without feeling pressured to do so. In some cases, we may choose to express our pain through journaling or creative outlets like art or music. The goal is not to suppress our emotions, but to find the right outlet to express them in a way that feels safe and healing for us. By embracing vulnerability, we are also allowing ourselves to grow. It's in these moments of openness that we can gain clarity, perspective, and strength. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we often discover new aspects of ourselves that we didn't know existed. We may uncover hidden resilience, untapped creativity, or an inner peace that comes from accepting ourselves fully, scars and all. The act of being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of immense strength. It takes courage to show up as our authentic selves, to face our pain head on, and to allow others to see our true essence. Vulnerability is a crucial part of the healing process. By embracing it, we open ourselves up to the possibility of emotional growth, deeper connections, and a greater sense of self-awareness. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we give ourselves the gift of self-acceptance and self-compassion. And in doing so, we unlock the power within us to heal and move forward. Healing starts with self-awareness. Understanding the pain we carry is the first step towards finding peace and resolution. Often, We go through life without fully acknowledging the emotional weight we are carrying. We push it aside, hoping it will go away or become easier to bear with time. But pain that remains unaddressed doesn't simply disappear. It lingers and grows, often taking on forms that are harder to recognize and manage. Self-awareness is the key that unlocks the path to healing. It allows us to face our pain, understand its roots, and take the necessary steps toward moving through it. We often overlook how deeply connected our mind and body are. The pain we feel emotionally can manifest physically, creating tension in our bodies, affecting our moods, and even influencing our decision-making. When we ignore the pain, we ignore the signals our bodies are sending us. Recognizing these signals is essential for healing. The first step is becoming aware of how we are feeling, both physically and emotionally, and allowing ourselves the space to process those feelings. Self-awareness doesn't just mean recognizing the obvious emotions we experience. It also involves identifying the deeper, sometimes hidden emotions that may be at play. Self-awareness allows us to practice self-compassion. Once we understand the emotional weight we carry, we can begin to treat ourselves with the kindness and patience we deserve. Healing takes time, and it's easy to become frustrated when progress feels slow. But self-awareness reminds us that healing is not linear. It's a journey with ups and downs, and it's okay to stumble along the way.